My mom told me that passion is like an engine. We were sitting in a hotel room in Daegu, and I asked my Mom, if you were to describe passion, how would you describe it? And she said, well, it's something that you need. And I said, okay. And she said, well, if you think about it, it's something that drives you. And she was saying this in Korean, by the way, and so I was thinking, okay, translating that to English first of all, and then how it drives you. And she says, well, if you look at a car, in a car there's the engine. Without the engine, the car doesn't really do much. The car kind of just sits there. And what's the point of having a car that just sits there? I say, okay, Mom, elaborate on this metaphor. She says, well, engines are all different too, right? And you put the engine in the car, or the car comes with the engine, and when you turn on the signal, then the car moves. Every car is designed to go from point A to point B. Even if it's in one of those really fancy Audi, you know, the one with a lot of pretty girls and standing with the different red carpets, it's still designed, essentially, to travel. Similarly, we are all designed to travel. People are constantly changing, developing, moving. We're never consistent. Humans are fickle. We're not designed to stay still. Now, where am I going with this? Well, where I'm going with this is when you don't ignite your passion, or where you turn it away, or you don't use it, and you sit in the garage and you're just there, waiting for something better, for something bigger. It's pointless. What's the point of having an engine if you never put a use to it? Or what's the point of having a car if you never drive it, or never understanding or realizing that there is this thing called an engine and it's supposed to move your car? And I thought about this for a long time. And one of my favorite street artists, Banksy, the New York graffiti artist, he said this: they say a person dies twice. Once, when they breathe the last breath. And second, when their name is uttered for the last time. I read this on a Tumblr post sometime in middle school. I thought about it, I saved it on my computer, and I thought about it, and when I was preparing for the speech, I went back and looked at my old tabs, and I saw this quote. And I agree, but I also want to add another death. Sounds gruesome, but I think that there are 3 deaths. 1, last breath. 2, when they utter your name for the last time. And 3, somewhere in between the day that you come out of the womb and the day you go back to the earth. And I think, I'm no doctor or psychologist, but I think that there's a 3rd death. And that death comes when you lose passion. When you lose what you love. When you lose what you strive for, that engine, when you put it away and tuck it out, or even physically take it out of the car, that's when you die. And I reckon that this is the worst one, because you can still be breathing, physically moving your body, but your heart is dead. It's consistently dead. And we're not designed to be consistently anything. We are constantly changing. When I was in 5th grade, my dad went on a series of business trips. And when he came back, before he even uttered the words, I knew that we weren't going to be in America for very long. We were living in New Jersey at the time, and I knew when my dad came home with a suitcase that we were moving again. We were going to pack up our bags, go to a new place, start new. And I thought, well, this is it. It's happening again. And I'm not ready, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. So when my dad told us we're moving to Korea, but I'm moving first, and you and your mom and your brother will come a year after, I thought, there really can be nothing worse in this situation. My family is really, really, really tight-knit. I have the 2 most amazing parents. my brother, who I love more than anyone in this whole world, and me, we make up a family of four, a team. And my dad moved away in the 6th grade. It was very difficult for all of us to be apart. The reason why we didn't move, partly is because, financially you have to sell the house and all these different things. There was no school that I was going to go to in Korea yet. But a lot of it had to do with me. In the 6th grade, I enrolled at the Juilliard School of Music in the pre-college program as a flute major. I was 11 years old when I got in. When I got the email, I remember our whole family screaming and crying together. My grandma was there too, and she didn't know what the heck was going on, but she was like, yes, families, always good, in her Korean. And it was in that year that I attended this prestigious elitist music school. For those of you who don't know, Juilliard Pre-College Program is a program designed for students in middle and high school, not in elementary schoolers. And we go every Saturday, we practice, we perform, we watch recitals, and I'm there about 12 hours a day. And then I balance public school, and then practice, and then also go to music school. In that time, my love for music, it flourished, it developed, it grew. I was like a flower coming out during a spring season. And my parents, who are both very, very musically talented, loved watching me perform. My mom is a cellist, and she was always the one that helped me and, could always be the one to coach me. In that year, I also came to love the people at Juilliard. The professors, my friends, who were never my age, but were still kind of my friends, but didn't think of me as their friend because I was 12, and they were 16. But it was during that year that I really, really loved what I did and who I was, and it was hard. I don't know if any of you have practiced for 8 hours a day, but that's hard, and it hurts, and you cry because you feel like you can't do anything else, but I knew and I felt like my life was going in that direction. I was going to be the next Jean Backstresser, and I was going to be this little girl and play her flute in Carnegie Hall. But after a year of music school, my mom, my brother, and I packed up our bags and moved to Korea. For those of you who know the story about moving to Korea and my boohoo sad times, I'm going to tell you the truth about what really happened. We moved to Korea and it was very difficult. It was a really, really hard adjustment. Being in a new country, even though I look Korean and I speak Korean, being in a new place, at a new school, in the 7th grade, when puberty was just not treating me well, we were all going through a hot mess, more than now, and it was just a hard time. And whenever I give this story, I always talk about the bullies, the people who picked on me, the people who told me I looked bad in the middle part, all these different things, but really, the core of the problem was that during those 2 years, I stopped loving. At first I was angry, of course, when my dad would come home and I would say, oh my gosh, it's all your fault, we're here and I have no friends, I hate my life, I'm failing school, I don't want to play flute anymore, I don't want to do anything anymore. Of course I would just blame it on my dad because as a 13-year-old, what else am I supposed to do? And then when my family came home, I would just be yelling at my mom and my brother, go away, get out of my room, I'm going to throw my shoe at you. And then at school, trying to keep up this attitude of, I still really want to be that A-star student and do well and be in everything, but at home I'm just so torn apart. And I would hate everything. I came to a point where I hated everything. I hated school, people, I hated flute, I hated music, then I hated God, then I hated me. And I would ask myself, why are you here? And then I would ask God, why did you bring me here? How dare you bring me here? And then I stopped asking. And that was my death when I turned 14. When I stopped asking, and I stopped caring, and I stopped questioning, and I stopped loving, and I became numb and indifferent to what was happening around me, and I said, you know what, God? I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Walk away. It's not worth it. When I would walk to school with an empty face, and I bear no resemblance spiritually to who I used to be. That's how I lived for a year. And I blame it now. I used to blame it when I was in high school on anxiety, on depression, on anorexia, and the things that I dealt with, and the things I battled for years before I moved to Korea. For years. It didn't just develop overnight. It was a constant effort that I made to shut myself off and shut my heart off. I don't know if any of you have ever been so anxious that your back physically hurts. It's like a cord that goes through your heart and it aches and it feels like a knot and you can't move and it's so hard to breathe. And I got so used to that pain that I didn't know that when I took a deep breath, it wasn't supposed to feel like that. And according to my definition that I gave you before, my 3 deaths, that was a death. Fast forward exactly 5 years to the day that I moved to Korea in 2010, this past summer. I'm working at a middle school in Daegu, of all places. I've been sent there by a theater company called Theater Beam. It's really cute, and they focus in on drama therapy. And I find myself in this middle school, and I'm thinking, okay, you're 18, or not 18 yet, I don't know what's gonna happen. But basically, the professor or the owner of Theater Bean saw that I had a passion for theater, for people, for healing. And she sent me on my way to Daegu to work as a drama therapist at a middle school. The program was designed for the 10 worst problem children at the school. A school of 700 kids in 3 grades. When we got there, I was with my team leader and another teacher, both in their 30s. And when we first arrived to the school, the principal looked at us and she said, before even saying hello, which is really un-Korean, she said, "Oh, well, do you know how bad our kids are?" Those were the first words that came out of her mouth, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? These kids are probably like 3 years younger than me. I don't know what's gonna happen. If they're anything like me when I was in middle school, it's gonna be a hot mess. And I got to the room and I'm sitting there anxiously waiting, and I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs and trying not to speak Korean because my Korean's not that great. And I'm just sitting there anxiously, and I hear a shrilling screech. And a little boy about this big, he slams the door open. He's like, I'm here! I'm like, oh my gosh. He's here, all right, he's here. And 9 other middle school kids are running in after him. And my initial reaction is, oh my gosh, thank God these kids are not indifferent. These 10 problem children are all kids that deal with bullying, personality disorders, everything you can imagine under the sun. I felt like I was in a Hollywood movie. You know in those detention centers and you see all the kids and you all play kumbaya and sit together in a circle? That's what it felt like. And the whole time I'm thinking, I can't do this, but when I look at their faces and they look at me and smile, yes, Teacher Sarah. And then I think, I can do this. But that week wasn't about me. If anything, it was the least about me. It was about these students. And yet when I was there, all I could think was, oh my gosh, this is helping me. I'm healing. Finally, I'm getting closure on my own experiences as a preteen. These children, these students had every reason to be angry. And they were. They had every reason to be indifferent and numb and not care. And to look at me and say, how dare you act like you understand my pain? Because these are kids who are ostracized by 300 other peers. Kids who sit on the field by themselves at night and cry. Kids whose parents don't even want them. Some of these kids, their parents registered them as mentally ill, disabled students so that they could get a tax refund. And I don't know if you could ever imagine this. I know I sure as heck can't, being one of those students. And yet one of our activities, we stood together in a circle, and we split up into groups of 3, and we asked them, what do you want to be in the future? We asked them, what do you want to be? You won't even imagine the answers that we got. We said one girl wanted to work in adoption. Another student wanted to work as a cook. One girl wanted to be a nurse. And the whole time I'm thinking, when I was in 8th grade, all I wanted to be was dead. When you lose passion, you lose everything. And I'm not saying passion has to be something grandiose and seem like, oh my gosh, I have a passion for social work and I'm in litigate. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be something shiny, because what engines are shiny? They're all kind of dirty and nasty looking. They look like pieces of trash. But really, they're what keeps you going. But when you lose that, you lose yourself. You lose every inch of striving, because passion leads to purpose. Passion doesn't always mean what you're good at. If it meant that what I was good at, I wouldn't be doing this. If passion was something that you just liked, I wouldn't be doing this either. But passion is what's deepest inside. When you open up your heart and you take out all the colors, and at the bottom where there's like a little bit of rice pudding, and you open that even more, and there's a little bit of grain and salt that formulated to create that pudding. That's what the passion is. And when you lose it, you lose yourself. And that's why I couldn't believe that these 10 students, when they came rushing in, hadn't lost it yet. And then I looked back at myself and I thought, how did you lose it, Sarah? How could you lose it? After those 2 years, I went through some of the most dramatic changes of my life. One of them being introduced to theater. The other, just coming back to reclaim myself. Falling back in love with myself, falling back in love with God, reconnecting, repenting, realizing, understanding, meditating, taking a moment to stop and think and ask God, what do you want me to do here on this earth before I die? And what will they say at my 3rd death when my name is uttered for the last time? What will people associate my name with, God? And during that week I was at that middle school in Daegu, the more I was revealed of my love for youth. This dress is a manifestation of my personality, really. But those 2 years might have been a really dark time, but I still think that even when you die, you don't lose the foundation of who you are. Every inch, cell, breathing part of your body is striving. The fact that you're here right now and breathing in itself is a gift. For those of you who know me, you would know that my favorite saying, it starts with, I love blank. I just love. I call my friends lovers of life. I just love. I love to sing, I love to do this, I love to read, I love to speak. And when you can finally say, I love me, and I'm proud to say that I love me. Have you ever heard people say that? I love me. I love me because of my passions and my purpose and my intent, the way that God made me here. I love me. And if you don't believe in God, it's okay. However you're formated, even if you're reincarnated. Me. And you. I love you. As crazy as it might sound, because I don't really know all of you. But I still do. My passion is in social work, working with underprivileged youth. My dream is to create national and international security for underprivileged youth, particularly in foster care adoption centers. I want to work in urban development, change the law, change the world. And who says I can't? People will tell me all the time, Sarah, sit down, stop talking, be quiet, stop laughing so hard, stop singing, stop breathing, stop whatevering. And I say, nah. Because I love what I do. And it doesn't even come from here. It comes from here, deep special. And they, I can't be that special. I just like math. Oh, go for it! Oh my gosh, Albert Einstein loved math too! We all love, all strive, and there is no shame in saying that you do. This is our life, and you have one chance at making it something great. At one chance at figuring out what will be the word that people associate with you when you pass away. I hope it's influential. I hope that it's loving. I hope that it's something great. Welcome to the Visceral. Thank you.